I feel like my dream for my entire life has been to own a house. I was never like what's my wedding gonna be like? I was like, what's my house gonna look like? Hey, I'm Jillian Rose Reed.
And I'm Marty Shannon.
And this is our Handmade Home in Los Angeles, California. When we first moved in, the house was extremely old and unupdated. So it had carpet on the floors. It was like this gross blue carpet. The walls were all wood paneled, which we left, we just painted. So wood paneling, everything was old. Like the bathroom still had the old blue and pink porcelain sinks and toilets from the 50s, which are cool now, but they did not work. They were not cute. This is our main living space. I think the thing we love most about this room is probably the fireplace wall. As you can tell, it's pretty magnificent. It was also original to the home. So it's one of the only things that we didn't want to change about the house because it's so pretty and spectacular and old. So in the main rooms, we went with brighter white, and then we played with more color in some of the smaller spaces.
The white feels like a blank canvas, and we can do as much color as we want without having to worry about clashing with the walls or anything.
This is probably my favorite corner of the entire house. I love the chair. It gets so much natural light. The addition of the cat really makes it extra cozy.
I promise she's not a stuffed cat. We will stuff her when she passes.
Marty!
What? But it's just not right now. She'll move at some point.
But this is like one of those corners where every morning I wake up and I walk in the house and I'm like, oh, it just looks so pretty and quaint and happy. Like you just want to curl up and have a cup of tea and start your day.
One thing we love about this space is all of the plants. You'll notice every space that we can fill has got some green to it. It's got some hangy, it's got dynamic.
I think plants will never go out of style.
Right.
I think that adding the pop of green to a space, I think that they're warm and inviting. Also, if you have a home full of real plants, obviously there's so many health benefits to that, but even our fake plants just make the house feel happier. So one of the very first things we did in the house during our renovation was take down this wall. So the kitchen was really tiny. It was just a little galley kitchen. It had some extra cupboards up here, but we didn't feel like we would need all that space. So we felt like it would be a much better use of the space to take the wall down and have the more open concept. We do a lot of entertaining, and this definitely feels like the central space in the home. So to have it open up to the rest of the house just gives us that bigger feel. We had no experience with renovations before we started. Both of our families do. So my mom has had several interior design jobs, event planning, business owner. So she kind of had the whole design knack on lock, and then Marty's dad being a contractor. So both of us grew up watching our parents be really good at what they do. And so we picked up little tips and tricks. And so when it came to this house, we just decided, let's just do it ourselves. New counters, new cabinets, appliances, everything was super old. Actually, I think this cabinet is the only original cabinet, and we just took the door off to make it open because we felt like it was like a nice little piece of the original kitchen that we could keep alive.
It's a cool one.
Yeah, everything else is new. One of the biggest mistakes that we made was going cheaper in the kitchen.
Yeah.
We did prefab cabinets, and they're great for what we needed, but they're falling apart for sure. The floors, we love the flooring, but it's laminate hardwood and it doesn't hold up. So places in my office, it's
coming up in places,
it's coming up.
cracking.
When we do our house the next time, that we'll put a little bit more money into, but this was also our starter home and we were on a budget. So I feel like we did a really, really good job of designing this place on a budget and still making it look fancier than it actually is. Coming into our main bath, we definitely did a lot of work. The toilet and the shower were original from 1950, so they were cool, the blue porcelain, pink porcelain, but they were not functional, so they had to go bye-bye.
They did have to go bye-bye.
And then bye-bye. Also, this wall didn't exist. It was just a tub straight into the toilet, and we thought that was kind of gross. So we added this wall before we tiled the inside of the shower, added some new tile on the floor, and that's pretty much it. This bathroom's pretty small, so it didn't require that much work. Okay, now we're gonna go into my office.
Woohoo!
This is my little safe space where I spend a lot of my time. This actually used to be our guest bedroom, but during COVID, I needed a place to work from home, so this ended up becoming my office, and I think it's one of the rooms that I love the most in the house because of all of the color. This is the first place that we experimented with wallpaper and like a funky color couch. And I think that this office gives really good vibes. I'm an acting teacher and an acting coach, so I teach 6 classes a week, which currently are all held on Zoom, and then I see private coaching students, which happens mostly on Zoom, but sometimes here in the office as well. So this is kind of my little client place where they get to relax and, you know, find their creative mind here in this fun little room. So this chair we actually found from a vintage furniture dealer here in LA. It's actually missing one of these little knobs because we took this chair to the high desert where we got married last October, and our wedding got blown away in a 70-mile-per-hour windstorm. So some of the things that went to the desert came back a little different than when they were taken there.
This is probably one of my favorite vintage finds. I have to be very delicate because it's glued on glued on glued.
When we bought it from the flea market, it was pretty much falling apart. So we got a pretty good deal on it. It definitely needed some TLC. It's like a fan lamp.
Yeah.
It's a lamp and a fan.
Not supposed to be either, I think. I think it's just supposed to sit there, but we like it a lot. I don't know if the fan is from the same decade as the base or any of the electronics, but I think part of the reason why I like it is because it just seems like somebody just is like, I'm gonna put some pieces of things together and sell it at a flea market. And that's sort of my whole character. While she's working in this little tiny space, I am in the little back area here. Let's go see my studio. So I am a producer of music, songwriter, anything sound related. I sometimes score for short films, do ads. When we do our ads, I score for those.
This is like the groovy room with like the lighting, and it's where the music gets produced. So we wanted to make sure it felt like really cozy, like you were stepping into somebody's music studio in like New York City or something.
I painted that picture of our house up there.
The weed sign is from our wedding. We had a weed lounge at our wedding that none of our guests got to enjoy because, again, it blew away into the
Yeah, it was good.
But we managed to save the sign.
It was just this plastic. I made this and put that on there. And so these newspapers here were found as insulation in the walls that we've taken down in the house. We have bags and bags of newspapers from the 50s and 60s. Blockbuster video here, Mortal Thoughts. You should really check that out if you haven't seen it. It also doubles as a nerd room for cards, because I have an obsession about collecting things.
Yeah, that's what it is.
There's original Pokemon cards, that's cool. People like those.
Totally.
You guys know. Camera guys know.
Okay, so we do have one other tiny little bathroom here. This is kind of just a cute little guest bathroom. We did flamingo wallpaper because we thought it's such a tiny space, why not do something super fun with it?
Yeah, nobody sees it, so we can get weird with it.
It's actually so cute. It's I think one of my favorite wallpapers.
Yeah, it's pretty great. My favorite part of the house is definitely outside of the house. No offense to the house.
So this is actually where we spend the majority of our time outside. Our friends have named this outdoor space the Oasis. But you know, we live in Southern California, so we spend a lot of time outside. We eat most of our dinners outside, so had to have a big dining room table outdoors was actually really important so that we could really embody that indoor-outdoor life. And I feel like that's the main way that we keep this space from feeling small, is that the doors are usually open and we usually live half outside. Okay, this is Birdie. Wake up, Bird. She loves to just bask all day in the sun. She's fun. You can roll her over like a roly-poly. She's out here all day long. She loves napping on the big blue chair. The entire front yard was just dirt and succulents. And it was actually, I mean, they tried to do a drought-resistant yard, which was obviously great for California, but not so great for safety. You couldn't really walk through without having to worry if you were gonna get stuck with something. So we took almost all of the plants that were in the front yard, moved them to the backyard, and then for the last 7 years, Marty has made it this like wonderland that it is. He tends to all the plants, he tends to all the animals, the little woodland creatures.
That's right. Here's the thing. These are my babies. This is the blue agave, AKA agave americana, AKA century plant, AKA H.P. Lovecraft demon from the darkness.
We named him Bowser.
This is Bowser, and that's Medusa. And then there's too many plants back there for me to remember the names. So
Let those grow. One day we'll fix them. So when we bought the house, this area was also extremely underdeveloped. There was no tile. It was kind of just messy. So we turned it into another seating area. We really, really love entertaining. So anytime we can come out and just pile people in, we love to do that. So it was important for us. And Marty loves a courtyard.
yeah.
So he wanted to create this little like courtyard feel
all
in
about
between the two homes.
Mm-hmm.
I think the proudest DIY moment was probably our bedroom.
Yeah.
Our primary bedroom is actually detached from the rest of the house. The previous owners had transitioned the space into something livable. So we felt like because the actual house is so tiny, it might be easier for us to have our primary living space in the biggest part of the house, which just so happens to be in the backyard. But Marty actually did a lot of the design in here.
So I wrapped, this big frame in wallpaper that we had. I got some cool metal signs and I drilled the holes myself, and you could see it's very DIY. But we've had it for...
Oh, we've had it for I think he made it when we moved in. So we've had this for 6 or 7 years.
Every day I'm waiting for it to the bulbs to explode,
it's
but
perfect.
it's holding strong.
Everyone always says, why did we choose the word damn? We have no idea.
No.
It just worked. Really, this became the primary bedroom because of its size, but we're also just a sucker for old, cool things, and this ceiling is just so cool with these wooden beams.
Yeah.
We could not imagine making this space storage when it looks so cool. So we sleep here instead.
The bedroom not connected to the house, at first we thought, well, what if we have to pee in the middle of the night? Or what if it's raining? Or, all the million reasons you don't want to walk from inside to inside again. But it has sort of forced us, but now we've learned to love it.
We really love the feel of indoor-outdoor living, and most of our doors are open all day long anyway, so really having that separate back house just feels like an extension of the home. It's never felt like a burden at all. There are definitely ways that we've made the most out of this space. I think there's a couple key elements. One is using bigger pieces of furniture. We never wanted to fill a small space with a bunch of small things to make it look more dwarfed. So bigger statement pieces. And I think the other thing that we do to maximize our space is we allow the space to constantly grow and evolve with us. This house looks nothing like it did when we bought it and renovated it 7 years ago.
Yeah. Doesn't look anything like it did 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's constantly changing with us, and I think that's really what makes people go wow, you've really utilized the space, is that it's very well lived in, and it feels very much like us at any given time. Okay, so back into the main house. We actually have some more thrift finds here. This giant poof I found at the Pasadena flea market. I actually got it as a present for Marty, but it was also kind of a present for myself because I loved it so much.
And it mostly ended up being a present for our dog. That's her little bed.
She loves it, but it's so cool. And then this vintage sign, we actually found this in Detroit, Michigan, and had my mom pack it up and ship it to us because we loved it so much. This coffee table is also really special to us. This coffee table and the outside dining table were also built by Ziggy the Hipster, our furniture friend. And they tell a lot of stories. We had a party once. A girl thought it'd be a good idea to dance on the table. It was a great idea. The table cracked. But now it has more character and it's a fun story to tell.
And now,
so
yeah.
Love it.
I couldn't tell you her name, but every time I see that crack, I think of her. So.
I can tell you her name. I think when people walk through the door, I want them to feel happy and warm. I think the biggest compliment that we've gotten is that our house does feel so cozy and so inviting. We always want it to just feel like it's everybody's home, not just like a stark place.
And I would be lying if I didn't want people to go, whoa, this is cool, every time they walk in.
Yeah, we think it's cool. We want other people to think it's cool. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Handmade for more home tours like this.